I look at you while taking pleasure in the awful things you put me through. You take away.
Ain't no way, ain't no how. I'ma let somebody come and shut me down. Hold my own, I'ma stand my ground. I'ma rep my city and salute my town. Said ain't no way, ain't no how. I'ma let somebody come and shut me down. I'ma hold my own, I'ma stand my ground. And I'm ready for whatever, and I still stand proud. Ain't no
Wrestling Society Nation, assemble as always. Get your little rings out and do more for whatever you want to do. This is the B&B show as always. Professor Bear and me, the Blade, the prediction god. Before we get started on today's video, obviously you know exactly what the hell we're going to be talking about. So this is going to be a little warning. If you got a little bit of a stomach problem, I don't suggest this one. Go watch our other ones because we're going to be talking about the injuries, and I have a problem getting into detail. So fair warning. I'm going to tell you right now, fair warning. It's going to sound graphic. And it's gonna be, this is gonna be a graphic one. So
and I would say this, with all of this, we're going to give you facts on things that you may have never heard of. You're going to look up and stuff. It is true. A lot of this is very true. And this is the so-called dark side of wrestling. And for myself, growing up in the 70s, 80s, and living in the South, getting to see some of this stuff personally has shaped me into the crazed wrestling fan that I am.
yeah. Obviously, like I said, you know what this is. This is gonna be, we're just gonna be talking about some of the worst injuries in wrestling. We may miss out on some injuries that you've heard of, or we may say some that you've never heard of. We're not going to be basically saying what was the most devastating. This is basically kind of personally to us what we think was the worst, what we have seen when we were watching it live as like one that stuck with us, like holy shit, that actually just happened. So if we missed one, feel free to drop it down in the comments for everybody to gloriously read about an injury that happened. So without further ado, Bear, just straight up, tell me, what's an injury that you automatically just think of right off the top of your head when you think of wrestling?
Right off the top of my head is Psycho Sid in WCW.
Every time I hear that, I think of two things. One, why mainly it just goes to the one thing. Why the hell did he think that was a good idea? Of him being that big. Seriously, why the hell did he, dude? Just stay on the ground, man. You don't need to be getting up there.
The sad part, it was just the second turnbuckle. It wasn't like he was on the top.
Yeah. So for a lot of people don't know, Psycho Sid, or at the time Sid Vicious, or whatever you want to call him, he basically got to the second rope in WCW, and he leaped off, and his leg gave out. And when he landed, he suffered a compound fracture of his tibula and fibula, I believe.
Yes.
He was wrestling. Oh gosh, help me out. Jeff Jarrett.
It was Hulk.
It was Jeff Jarrett.
No, Animal. Jeff Jarrett, Animal,
Scott
the Road
Steiner.
Warrior,
and
Scott Steiner.
It was a four corners match. And Sid Vicious, like I said, basically went to the second rope, and jumped, and his whole leg just, and it's on everybody's list of worst injuries because it was one of the first major ones that was really on the live television, or that was in color and all that. It was bad.
What was worse about that injury? WCW had the audacity to show it was on a pay-per-view. The next night, they showed it on WCW Nitro like 1,800 times, different angles.
I think the reason they showed it. So this was for the WCW Championship. So it was a big match, and oh man, it was just so bad. And so basically, when he landed, it was a compound fracture, which basically means it was so severely broken the bones poked through the skin.
It
Um,
hurt. Oh,
and it was really bad. He had to get a steel rod implanted into his leg to fix the broken bones. Oh gosh, that one already, man, already. Where's the bucket? Because I may need it for this video.
oh.
If you're still watching, thank you. Okay, the first one that comes to my head every time I think about an injury, and because I saw it when I was a kid, man. Oh gosh, and I didn't realize how bad it really was. Obviously, I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was until after it happened. Joey Mercury, when he was in yeah, I see your face. It was at the Armageddon pay-per-view in December of 2006. It was Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro, and they were involved in a fatal four-way ladder match against London and Kendrick, Regal and Taylor, and then the Hardy Boys. Basically, Matt Hardy was at the top rope. They had a ladder in the corner.
No. I'm sorry. It was not that. It was that crappy December to Dismember pay-per-view.
Oh, was it
That's
that?
what it was. And it was just the Hardys and Eminem. And the reason I know this, because I was watching another wrestling thing and they were talking about the worst pay-per-views, and they kept bringing up that match and showed the ladder slam into his fight. Oh my
Hold on
God.
a second. Hold on a second. I gotta search this up because I swear, man. Let me search this up.
Oh my God. Like you, I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was until afterwards. Oh, ugh.
So I hate to be the bearer of bad news. So it was Armageddon 2006.
Oh, okay.
It was, so yeah, they was Eminem is what they were called. But it was with the Hardy Boys and then Kendrick and Taylor and all them. It was a fatal four-way ladder match. It had William Regal, Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Hardy Boys, and it was for the tag team championships. And the main reason I remember it was so many people was because I've rewatched it a lot, and when it happened, Joey Mercury was not the only one leaning over the ladder. There was like Jeff Hardy was there, Nitro was there, and I believe William Regal was standing there as well. And Matt Hardy jumped off the top rope and landed on the bottom of the ladder. It flung up, and every wrestler went like this because they got hit.
Oh, right.
Joey Mercury legitimately got his whole fracture. I don't remember exactly what he fractured, so I'm going to search it up for everybody. Because all I remember, I know for a fact there's an orbital fracture. And yeah. I remember seeing the aftermath when he was outside of the ring. He looked like he couldn't see, like his eyes were closed, and he looked like he was trying to and there was just, oh man, and yeah, Mercury was not able to get his hands up to protect his face and suffered a direct impact. It looked like it looked like Mercury's face exploded. He suffered a broken nose, orbital fracture, and he was out of action for only a few weeks. There is a picture of him afterwards, after he got a little fixed up, and he just is all purple and
it looked like he went up to Mike Tyson and called his mama a whore. That's what it looked like. Looked like Tyson just lit into him. Jesus.
I'm sure most of you have seen the photo of him outside the ring. He almost looked like he was looking for his nose. He's and he couldn't see, and he looked like he's about to just fall over because he's just and there's just blood everywhere, man. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is every time somebody says injury, that's the first one I think of because I remember it so much because I remember seeing it and I was like, what in the hell just happened? And I was so just, I was so freaked out, man. Gosh. What are the ones come to mind?
Oh man. Well, the most recent one
Oh
was the
God,
ROH Reach for the Sky Tag Team Tournament for
Dante
the
Martin.
titles.
Yeah.
And oh man.
Oh
Poor
yeah.
man, the Martin brothers. Jesus. They can't catch a break. So when um I can't, they've changed his name, so I always get them confused. But when they Zero did what was it, the Canadian Destroyer,
Yep, he was on the top, and he
and
did his Sado Miedo, and then he went for it, and he went through what? How many tables? There was like
it was
four
four
tables.
tables,
Four
right?
tables.
And that was fine until Dante tried to plant his feet. And it was so bad because I'm watching it live, and I thought to myself, I was like, wait a minute, was that his foot, or is
Yeah.
that they throw a towel over him? So I saw it, but I didn't realize it until I start seeing the pictures and the videos. I'm like, how did they get a towel over his leg that fast? I'm like, oh, that's his leg. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, it was bad. So since it did happen recently, because there was an update, so I am gonna get the exact injury right here for everybody to say, because I don't know exact, because a lot of people thought it was a broken leg at first, but it turned out it wasn't a broken leg. It was just really his ankle. Um and yeah, his ankle snapped. He was released from the hospital April 2nd. So a couple days after it happened. So he's been out for about 2 weeks now. Um so that means he is, it's nothing, obviously it's serious, but it's nothing too serious.
And
And oh
TK TK actually had talked about it and says for the injury, he's actually doing very well and that he's in good spirits, thank God. Um but oh man. Oh,
yeah, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've more than likely seen that video already. But if you haven't seen it, like Bear was saying, Penta El Zero did the Canadian Destroyer. He was up there, the Zero, Miedo, and then like
off the ladder,
Dante
by the
tried
way.
Dante tried to plant his feet, and you cannot do that from that height at all. From like a Canadian, from that height, that is a no. You can't do that, especially at that angle. And his whole left foot
It
just,
snapped.
yeah, completely. And so, yeah, that one was bad. Let's see. I'm trying to think. There have been injuries that you could consider, I mean, career ending. Which there's a couple. You could consider Stone Cold's neck, because it did take, that one is hard to watch for many reasons. For some reason, when it comes to neck injuries, that's where I get real jittery, man. Everything else I can kind of cope with and be like, whoa, but neck injuries, man, just get me. And the worst neck injury for me was Stone Cold's, watching it, because you can just see how he was so far under. It was scary. Because every time I watch it, I'm like, I can't even imagine being that far under and taking that pile driver. I mean, if you rewatch that, if you've seen that, for a fact there was no way in hell it wasn't going to break, basically, because of how far under Owen Hart he was.
Yeah.
And sadly, that is what made him retire so early, was because of that neck injury, because it came back and haunts him. And it just, oh man, for people who don't know, just in case you're brand new to wrestling and you live under a rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin retired early due to health problems and mainly to the neck. So basically, Stone Cold was wrestling Owen Hart at SummerSlam in 1997. Owen Hart took him up for a pile driver, and Oh my gosh. His head was way too far under Hart, and Hart just dropped him. And Stone Cold's neck, if you watch the match, you see Stone Cold literally went paralyzed for a while. Actually finished the match paralyzed, basically, because he went fully paralyzed and he couldn't move. And they realized that, and so they were like, all right, I've got to end this match. So Austin finally was able to move a little bit, and he did the worst roll-up of all time. He did the worst roll-up of all time to make the match end, because he couldn't even grab Owen to roll him up. And when he rolled him up, he just fell. And they had to lift him up to raise the belt, and he couldn't raise the belt. And he finished the match paralyzed. He had surgery, and crazy enough, he wrestled for a couple more years, and he finally had to call it quits because his neck was just couldn't work. But
Since you brought up neck injuries, I got one worse than that. And every time, and a matter of fact, last week I just seen a picture of this guy, and I'm very thankful that he's still alive, that he's been able to live a meaningful life. But
exactly where you're going with this.
Puke of the LOD. If y'all don't know who Droz was, he was a young member of the Legion of Doom of WWE, and he had a match with D'Lo Brown. It was on a house show, and D'Lo hit him with I think it was a brain buster.
It was a running power bomb, and it was
it was power bomb.
Yeah, it was D'Lo's. It was just
regular move.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Nowadays, if you watch wrestling, a power bomb is in probably every single match you've ever watched. And one power bomb to Droz, and he's paralyzed for the rest of. Now he's got the feeling. Yes. I was gonna say he has been able to get some more feeling, I believe, in his arms. And like you said, he's lived a great life. He's enjoyed his life. He has no regrets. He enjoys it. And on an episode of Dark Side of the Ring, he was featured on. D'Lo Brown obviously still feels terrible, but Droz is like, there's no hard feelings, man. I mean, it happens. You know what you're signing up for. But the whole point of that is a simple power bomb. That's all it took. And you see that probably in almost every single wrestling match. I mean, Kevin Owens' signature, it's a pop-up power bomb. He takes him and throws him up and then slams him. That's
man.
Basically,
and and they have a video of it floating around.
Really? I heard that I've seen the only thing I've seen is a picture of Droz after of when they were taking care of him, because I watch a lot of if anybody knows this, it's called iceberg videos, where it kind of goes deep into lost media and stuff. They consider Droz's video lost media because WWE has their hands on it and says they don't want it out. I've never seen the video. I've only seen a picture of him laying there after. But yeah, that one is definitely probably the worst injury. Luckily, thankfully he is alive and he's living a happy, healthy life. But basically D'Lo just never had his full grasp on him when he was doing the power bomb, and they just weren't in the right place and slipped, and Droz fell completely wrong on the neck. And man, when I think of that, man, it's like, whoa, because every time I think of that injury, I always go back to Brock Lesnar versus Bob Holly, where now this one it's an injury. I mean, he got a concussion, but Bob Holly basically decided to sandbag Brock Lesnar. For those who don't know, sandbag basically means you go dead weight on your opponent, and Brock Lesnar didn't like that. Brock Lesnar had him in a powerbomb, and Bob Holly decided to sandbag, so he went dead weight, and he didn't help him. So Brock Lesnar decided to slam him on his head and neck. And I don't know how, coming from the force of Lesnar, after you sandbag him, after being sandbagged, and coming from the force of Brock Lesnar in 2003, all he got was a concussion.
No, that's not true. He broke his neck.
He broke his neck from that.
Yes, he was out. and the reason why I know this, that was the last match. And when you remember the following year when Bob Holly came back and at the Royal Rumble, he had a world title match against Brock.
Oh, you're correct. You're correct.
Yeah, he broke his neck.
I apologize. I actually thought he only got a concussion from that. He did break
Nah.
his neck.
Yeah, he broke it.
Wow. Well, that's every time somebody thinks about a power bomb, I do think it draws, but I always go back to that one specifically because of the whole sandbagging thing. It was wrong on both of their sides. Brock Lesnar shouldn't have thrown him on his damn neck, and Bob Holly should have sandbagged him.
Man, you in the ring with somebody that has your life in his hands. You're working with someone. You got to trust people, and I don't care what kind of mood you in, whether you like them, don't like them, or whatever. You have to do what you got to do. This is no joke. As much as we laugh about it and get mad and all this, these are real life injuries, and it's amazing that some people think, oh, it'd be okay if I just do this. It's not.
Yeah. And going back to the basically career threatening injuries, or well, they all are, but some injuries that kind of took away some careers. I got two in mind. The first one, Shawn Michaels' back. When against Shawn Michaels at the 1998 Royal Rumble was facing Undertaker in a casket match. Undertaker threw him over the top rope, and Shawn couldn't get far enough, and his back just I mean, if you watch the video, you got it. It's hard to see, but he barely just bangs the bottom of his back against the casket, and it really messes up. It messes up his disc. It breaks the disc. And he didn't even go in to get it checked out for a while.
Oh yeah, because he knew it was bad.
Yeah, and basically that injury ultimately led him to retire. I mean, his back was just so bad. He came back after 4 years and wrestled for another 8, but even then his back was just, it was bad. To this day, he's even talked about how it's just so bad because he waited so long, and it just gave him permanent damage. That's another sad one, seeing how Shawn Michaels' career, how great it was, what it could have been if the 4 years were there, or even longer, and even Stone Cold's. I mean,
yeah. With Shawn though, and I hope people don't take this wrong what I'm about to say. With Shawn, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise for the route he was going and the route he was in, because Shawn was so messed up on drugs, his attitude, the way he treated people, and that was even he would say to this day, it was a blessing from God that happened to him at that particular time. He doesn't blame Taker. He never blamed Taker for that.
That's true. I'm sure everybody knows Shawn Michaels was in a bad place, and during the 4 years, then he became addicted to painkillers because of his back. But he's happy. He's pretty healthy now. Like I said, he does have back problems.
Devout Christian.
He does have back problems to this day because of he waited too long. But the one other one that I think of career ending is Bret Hart's. That's one that gets me because I was such a big Bret Hart. I mean, I still am a big Bret Hart fan. And man, one super kick from Goldberg just ends it. So Bret Hart was facing Goldberg at Starrcade 1999 in a no disqualification match, and basically Bret Hart was sent to the ropes and he was coming back. Goldberg hit him with a super kick, and it hit straight to his head. And he had a huge concussion, and the problem was he didn't get it checked out for a while, and he wrestled one again after that match, and it made it 10
Worse.
times worse, a lot worse. And he had to literally hang it up right then and there. His
Had a
concussion-
stroke because of it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it was bad. It was a terrible concussion. Terrible concussion.
And if you right now, if you look up in any wrestling dictionary of bitter old wrestler, Bret Hart is right there.
yeah, yeah,
And it's so unfortunate for Bret to again and it's very easy not being in his shoes to tell him how he should feel and stuff. It's just, as a wrestling fan, we all have opinions, but I think Bret needs to really get a hold of himself and be thankful, because even with all that, he's still alive. He didn't have the misfortune of being his brother who died in an accident in the ring. So again, there's things in life that happens. I wish that people would more try to look at positives than negatives. And I hope and sincerely wish this, that if somehow, some way Bret Hart sees this or someone tells him, that I wish he would really do some soul searching and learn to find some happiness and let it go.
Yeah, I like both wrestlers, Bret Hart and Goldberg. And I just, that's between him. I mean, I enjoy both wrestlers. It's just unfortunate that happened to Bret Hart, especially in 1999. I mean, he had so much more he could have done.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it happens. Concussions are definitely one of the worst. Like Brock Lesnar's concussion against Kurt Angle. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm sure everybody has seen the video of this somewhere. Brock Lesnar, they were fighting at WrestleMania, and Brock Lesnar went for a shooting star press from the top rope, and I mean, just he couldn't
Didn't
fully
get enough
turn.
rotation.
Yeah, and he landed straight on his head and got a concussion. And I mean, you could tell when he was getting up to finish the match, I mean, he could barely stand. That was a bad one, but yeah, there's been a lot of injuries.
There's one that I want to touch on before we let go. The one to Natalia's husband, Tyson Kidd.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe has hit the knuckle buster on so many different occasions to so many different people and never hurt anybody. But this particular case, they had a match, and I don't know. I don't know if he landed wrong or what, but that ended Tyson Kidd's career right there.
Yeah. Thankfully, Tyson Kidd is now in the back, and he does produce a lot of the matches, so he is still involved. I forgot what match he produced at this past WrestleMania. He just produced one of the matches.
I was about to say he produced a lot of the women's matches.
Yeah, I
he's
believe
definitely big in that.
I know for a fact he produced one of the matches at WrestleMania 39. I'm not sure exactly which one it was, but it was a good match. It was one of the good ones. I hate saying that a lot, one of the good ones, but
I think and I could be wrong, but I think he produced, I want to say Rhea and
that's what I'm
Charlotte.
thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. I just don't remember exactly. I don't want to give the viewers the wrong answer, but I believe he did as well.
Well, here's the thing. If we're wrong, you'll know it because it'll be at the bottom saying, hey, it was actually whatever. So You know, this is just us thinking, and we always try to give the right facts, and we do one way or another.
Yeah, we try our best. We appreciate y'all tuning in for this video. Those who did stick around, this did get, like I said, a little graphic because we did go into detail. If you're still here, thank you so much for listening the full way through. Tell us, I don't want to say your favorite or your top injuries in the comments. Just say, you know, tell us an injury that you remember. What injury did you see live? What injury stuck with you? Did we tell you an injury you have never heard before? Did we miss an injury that you want you want people to know about? Let us know in the comments. So don't make sure you like, subscribe, share, and go watch our other videos on the B&B show. Until next time, we will see you then.
I came from the UK. I can't and won't be stopped.
Come on, there you go. Get out there. Get out there. Get out.
And I will never give you a contract.
I tell you what, if you're gonna start off, you want to start off with one of the big guys. And to prove yourself, you want to knock them out.
This is the Wrestling Society Network.